asking for more paperwork, and we've discovered other things that, during the course of going over all this, we found a few more things we didn't send in yet, so we're gonna keep on top of that. Because they'd like to get it closed out too. I think it's getting old to them.
They're also they're not disputing the numbers that we're giving them anymore. You know, they're not agreeing 100%, but we're at least, they're not hanging up on us. So, you know, I think this really needs to be the year that we make a push and get this thing done. We were a little bit hesitant because of the levee projects and some of the other things still needed to get done. But now those are behind us.
Well, sort of.
Well, for the most part, I mean, even the levy reports we're getting that indicate how much more work we need to do, they all acknowledge the huge effort that we've made and are continuing to make to meet their requirements. So they're appreciative of that. Now it's time to cash some of that in and get our money.
So is any of this Highway 43 project gonna be FEMA covered?
We're gonna try, but it's highly unlikely. We think we can make a good case with some of the storm sewer and some of the sewer and water, but all we can do is try. Because it wasn't identified back when, it's really tough to go back. And again, we're gonna have to judge, do you wanna put some of this in jeopardy, plus other stuff that they owe us, and get into a computation over what we think they owe us. The numbers pencil out, then yeah, if we think we're right, we'll go to that. But if it's shaky, I don't know how much we want to push.
Okay, the next fund's your TIF capital projects fund. Now, the $49,000 that's in here, Kathy, is not available to repay that bond. Is that my understanding? This is housing related? Or?
Yeah, this is from the housing.
So there are some dollars, TIF dollars in a capital project fund, $49,000.
But we can't touch those? Because it's the housing?
No, that's our share of that housing thing that's been building up. There's some other revenue there from sales of land and stuff. But TIF there are some rules about how you can spend that too. It isn't just free to us to spend any way we want to, so.
Probably should be investigated.
Yeah, we should see what those rules are. Would Mike know that?
Yeah, he sent me an email about, because I asked him about this after we met, and some of it is really convoluted, where you send it back to the state, but then the state turns around and sends it back to you.
Right.
You have to send extra money back to the state.
That kind of clear it, money laundering. It'll be nice though, because if we could use that as seed money for some other projects, even if they're housing related, if we have to make that argument.
The housing thing will be done in 2015, the last.
10%. Okay, the last capital improvement fund is a levy project. Later in the year, just $3,900 short. But we had $50,000 booked at a receivable that's not in there. So I don't know where the levy project ended up. I don't have any current information on that.
Yeah, we got more money more grant money.
Okay, so there's no deficit at all.
Right.
Okay, so that project turned out fine. Then let's talk about receivables and these interfund situations we got into as a result of the flood. Starting with FEMA. Here's the numbers we got on Friday. Fire, $340 from FEMA. Ambulance, $10 grand. Nothing. Flood restoration, we closed it, moved it into the capital improvement fund. That's where we booked the bulk of it, $551,000. Electric, $75. Water, $70. I'm sorry. Liquor, $75. Electric, $70. $245 in water. And BDM thinks we've been overpaid in the sewer by $142,000. So, you know, of course, we can. The city isn't going to send a check. We'll sort of just net it out of what they owe us, but that's part of what I want to talk to you about when we get to the sewer fund and the liquor fund as well. But they have $75 grand.
So you're saying that's the total that FEMA owes us?
This is the total. It comes to.
That's what we got.
No, this is what they owe us. They sent us $845,000.
Receivables.
They owe us another $812. This is a receivable. And the numbers that we've been waiting on to issue this financial was whether this, I think we had booked $1.2 million or $1.3 million. BDM says it's 812, so we reduced that by about 500,000. So this was kind of the key to getting this finished. That kind of pushes us to the next one, interfund amounts. What this is, these are funds that owe other funds money. Okay? And again, I don't have to go through this. I know the city is very rare. We're still living through the repercussions of the flood and getting closer to getting this taken care of. But that's why I want to spend some time on this. Water owes $104,000 still to other funds. That was $182,000. So that improved cash flow is helping them eliminate that, and I believe it should be gone next year, especially because I think FEMA owes them FEMA owes them a pretty good chunk. Plus they're generating cash, so that should be gone. The liquor fund owes 75 in a due from and 166 in advance. The reason we do that is we believe they can pay this one. That's a due from. When FEMA pays them, they'll be able to pay that back to other funds. The 166, there's no, unless they sell the building, which I don't believe they can, there's no way of paying that 166 back, so that's got to be addressed. And that's why we have it as an advance. Advances are long-term, not current, but it is something that is an issue that's going to have to be addressed in some manner to take care of that. The sewer is a big one, as you can see. Between the two, we're at $915,000 that the sewer owes other funds. Is a due to, and most of it's in advance. And it owes FEMA $142,000. So I think sewer is, I think you got a lot of things going in the right direction here. Sewer is even going in the right direction, but by generating, a couple $100,000 a year in cash, having its own capital needs going forward, it's going to take a long time to dig out of that hole. I think probably need to start looking at moving some reserves, maybe that capital improvement reserve, maybe some EDA reserve or something in here to try and fix this. It's really your only big issue at this point. Again, the sewer fund has its own revenue bonds outstanding as well. So this interfund amount of $915,000 is just going to be something that's going to have to be dealt with. Airport operations shows a due from. They're just waiting for a state grant to come in, so they're borrowed short term. As did the community center, as you know, is got a deficit of 22. And the levy, again, that was, we just waited for some state grants. So these are not issues, the airport and the levy improvement project. Because we do the short-term borrowings and do a bond for a couple of months waiting for the state payment.
So, getting back to that sewer, and we borrow money out of other funds?
Yes.
We owe other funds?
That's correct. The city works out of a commingled cash pool. And so, generally the checks are just cut, and if one fund has money and the other one doesn't, then they just cut a check because it's all together, and then we book a due from between the two funds, so the cash stays in the right, eventually gets back in the right spot. If you have a major improvement, you go out and bond, you don't borrow from another fund. So, what occurred through all the chaos back after the flood, and how it comes out like this, I frankly don't know. I would have anticipated that FEMA was going to pay the sewer fund a lot more money than they are paying them. The fact that they've got a $142,000 liability, I'm relying on BDM for that, and that's unfortunate. I was hoping they were going to have an $800,000 receivable from FEMA and just take care of it, but it came out the other way. Now, maybe somebody at BDM can answer that question for you, how that could have occurred with the sewer fund. Had expenditures, capital expenditures, and operating losses through that period of time that aren't being covered for some reason. All the other ones seem to have come out of it fairly well. Now, of course, electric doesn't have one because maybe it had such a large reserve at the time that they could have taken more of a hit this year.